sexy vampire movie.
Oh my.
It's probably one of the most sexy vampire movies ever, right?
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, but
I
the
mean, just
vampire
that,
himself is not.
Not.
just that sucking sound.
And the booby trap at the end.
Literally, it's a booby trap.
Yes, yes. And Orlock's got some pretty skinny legs too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He skipped
Okay.
like day.
Okay,
So
so
this will not be spoiler free.
no, this is not going to
No.
be a spoiler-free
No.
review
No.
slash
No.
dive into Robert Eggers Nosferatu.
Yes.
So, if you haven't seen it,
Go watch that shit right now.
avert your ears and eyes, and then I don't know, go see it in the theater. Probably, I think would be a good idea.
So we're talking about Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. So
Yes.
we all saw it today.
Yes, today.
Today.
Yeah, it's
Today,
amazing.
which
And
is kind of crazy.
And you know what? This is a symphony of horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I would say so.
I liked it.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
I did like it. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Well, let's start with Symphony. The music was fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
God,
man.
the music was great.
Amazing.
And the sound design.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Like,
Oh, sitting there in the theater, you can hear the rats over here. You can hear things
Yeah.
skittering in the walls around you. It was fantastic.
yeah, oh, it was great. And just the sound that the castle made
Mhm.
was Orlock's breathing. I mean, everything was just, oh my, jeez.
One of my favorites is, when you step outside in winter and it's snowed and it's snowing and you just get that weird muted sound.
Yeah,
As soon as
Yeah.
it started snowing in the movie, they had that. And
yeah,
it's so atmospheric and so true.
Yeah.
Because you don't have perfect sound when you have winter like that. You have that weird hushed, muted feeling all around you. Like everything's
Yeah.
kind of wrapped in cotton. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's such an amazing job.
There was a couple times I thought somebody was whispering behind me, just because there's so many times, especially with Lily Rose Depp's character, when there's whispering and things going on. There was a couple times I honestly thought that somebody behind me was whispering because there was just so much of it. And it was
yeah.
So the sound design was just impeccable, amazing. Everything about it was thoroughly enjoyable, and it really sucked you into the movie, I think.
Sucked you in. No pun intended, huh? Yeah, I can tell that Robert Eggers has been working on this for years, and the love for Nosferatu is definitely there.
Mhm.
The love for the horror of it, for sure, and the folklore of it, for sure. Just the vampire folklore that he pulled from is like every bit of it I love. It's just incredible.
Gave Willem Dafoe so much meat to chew on.
Oh my God. Boy, he chewed it up, didn't he?
he did.
Oh my God.
It was just fantastic.
He's great in everything he does. But one of the things that we were talking about on the way back was Quincy P. Morris wasn't in this movie, but he was.
He was, yeah. I was telling Randy this on the way back. I had to stop myself because it was messing with the actual character in the film. But I couldn't stop thinking about Aaron Taylor Johnson and how perfect he would be as a Quincy Morris in a Dracula film.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in the back, I've got this American masculine hero in my mind, and that's completely not the character he is playing in this
Right.
film.
He was playing Lord Arthur.
Yeah, and so I had to really distance myself from that. But I'm like, man, I would love him as Quincy for some reason.
Yeah, and when Craig told me that on the way back, I'm like, my first instinct was he looked like the same actor that played Quincy Morris in Coppola's Dracula. All through the film, I'm like, this has more to do with the novel, Bram Stoker's novel, than it has to do with Nosferatu.
I feel like they struck a good balance.
Yeah, because this had the horror of the novel in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when when Orlock is draining the two kids and he just drops the one, it's like, I'm like, oh, fucking Eggers went there. Yes, thank you. So I'm
And
like,
you had the 5 minutes on the ship was better than the Demeter movie.
yes, it was.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yep. The ending credits of this movie were better than
yeah, than the Demeter movie. And, yeah. I have to agree with that.
There was a specific moment when they go down below deck to open the box with the coffin in it. When he first walked in, I thought I saw something move just to the side of him, and I was like, "Oh, haha!" A vampire's gonna pop out and grab him. And then it went back, and it sat there for a moment, and then there was other hanging stuff down below deck there. And so it made me kind of like second guess myself of like, oh, well, maybe I didn't see, Orlock hanging out back there.
Right.
And Eggers is such a good filmmaker with horror specifically that he gave me time as a viewer to second guess myself and then hit me with the scare of Orlock attacking.
Yeah, the whole scene was so disorienting.
Yes.
Yeah. And
because there was just enough shaky camera and the boat is moving and just
yeah. And what I really like about the film, that the backstory of Ellen and Orlock, it's like she's possessed. I mean,
you fleshed out the mythology.
Yeah. Essentially, she is possessed and taken over, and it's not a love story.
No.
I mean, it might be for Orlock, I guess, but
even from his side, it was all obsession.
Yeah, complete 100% obsession, and digging into themes and what obsession means, and specifically with females and that sort of stuff. That it was nice to have it there as a sub theme going out throughout the whole film, but not something that Eggers was really trying to like punch you in the face with necessarily either.
Absolutely, because the obsession was all about submission and control, and you will do what I say, and you will come to me willingly, and it was subtle enough that it wasn't beating you over the head with it, but it was very much there.
Another thing that I really liked about it was we talked in the previous video about. I said I hope he leans into the rats and the plague more. And
them coming off the ship.
That was and like everything after that was, everyone was the plague. It's like there's a plague upon us, and there was. And Orlock's motivation was to kill everyone that Lily Rose Depp knew.
It was also very disorienting within the story for characters and other people that live in the world. Like it in the previous Nosferatu movies, like it was a concept and it was there and it was a problem, but they really didn't dive much into it. In this movie, like it felt really distracting, putting yourself in the world. There's no way anybody's going to think about there being an actual vampire hanging out when literally the Black Plague is running through the town because of these rats.
Yeah, and we're burning bodies, and we've got coffins everywhere, and we've got body collectors and people screaming and people going mad from the plague, and it was there's so much going on. Nobody's going to think about a vampire.
As actual little screen time as I think Skarsgård ends up having, which it is very few and far between. It's not a lot.
Right.
It's very effective when it does, but it gave him more dimension as a character with the rats. It seemed like he had planned that out as opposed to beforehand. He was very, even in the Herzog film, which added a lot more characterization to all the characters, it was still pretty flat surface as far as Orlock went. Like he's just a vampire.
It's easy to see that Orlock in this wants world domination. I mean,
there's a bigger picture.
But he wants Ellen, of course, but he wants to take over the world. So okay,
you woke me up. Let's go.
Pure evil.
So,
like
very
pure
evil.
Terrifying, scary. As striking as the original design is for Nosferatu, and scary as it may be, and we talked a lot about that in our video for that. This version was terrifying. Like they did a really good job of adding another level and really amping up
Yeah.
Orlock as a really commanding presence, and this is another thing we were talking about, especially when Nicholas Hoult first gets to the castle and interactions he has with Orlock. It's there's a presence to Orlock. Just being around him like instills fear and terror within you, not just in a physical looking at him sense, but just being in his presence.
Yeah, there was just this
Clearly,
visceral
yeah,
thing
And
lurking.
the location they shot the castle, it was the same castle that Werner Herzog shot Nosferatu 79.
Nice. I like that. That's a good callback.
Yeah,
One thing I did really like is he's absolutely pure evil, and that is something that every Dracula adaptation has failed at spectacularly.
right.
Because in the book, he has no motivation other than I'm petty and I'm vengeful and I just want to kill things. There is no I'm in love with you. There's no other motivation. I'm evil and I want to consume. And they nailed that in this movie.
Oh
yes.
I'm a consumer. That's all I'm doing.
So tired of trying to humanize Dracula or the main vampire so much. In certain aspects, it works sometimes, but in this, it worked so much better in this aspect, the way that Eggers told it, that it really brought fear back into the realm. I feel like nobody's been scared of vampires for a long time.
Right.
and this was like, holy shit, that was intense. I'm scared of him. Like he's really going to wreak havoc and ruin people's lives, and it made it scary again.
No, as far as his appearance, I'm still kind of going back and forth on the mustache because on the one hand, it did give him a very Vlad Tepes look.
Yes, for sure.
But on the other hand, I do feel like it detract from the rodent-like appearance of previous Nosferatu with the pointy little teeth and just narrow, angular features. And you can't see as much of that with the big Ted Lasso mustache.
Yeah, and the other thing is he didn't have those front pointy teeth.
Right.
You didn't really see them. I mean,
you saw them at the end.
But again, with the bite marks appeared that he had the little, like he was using the two pointy teeth.
Yeah,
but they didn't actually show.
There was upper teeth and lower teeth also.
Was there?
The bite marks. Yeah,
okay. Maybe I missed that.
I loved, the gypsies. They did. Eggers didn't spend too much time with the gypsies, which a lot of the movies, even the Herzog film, spends too much time with the gypsies. Let's get to the castle. Let's move on. But the time that Eggers spent with the gypsies, it was perfect. Oh, there's a vampire killing people. We're going to go, stake him. We're going to put a woman on a horse, nude.
Like you do.
I'm all for that, because
what other ways do you attract vampires? Or any fucking pervert hanging out in the woods?
Yes, and that is traditional vampire folklore from Romania.
Yeah,
so my hat's off to Eggers for that. I mean,
but I liked the very sudden and complete disappearance of the entire town. Yeah, that actually felt a lot like Werner Herzog's version, because there was very much a, hey, look, there, town full of people, and then they're all gone. And there was no transition into them being gone. They were just gone.
Yeah. And I think what Eggers could have gotten into a little bit more, maybe it was Herzog got into the debauchery of people because of this. And I thought, if Eggers had gone into that also, it would have been that much more better.
I feel like he covered that plenty with the bit of necrophilia.
Probably, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, there's plenty of debauchery going on in this movie. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I want to go back to Orlock's design a little bit. Jocelyn talked about the mustache, and it definitely didn't bother me per se. It was obvious to me that Eggers was trying to distance himself from that
Right.
rat-esque look from the
Right.
two previous films, just by the way, the design of his ears and everything else. And they also changed. He didn't make him a very slim. They didn't keep the same costume style with him. They made him big and bulky, wearing this big,
Put him in furs.
big
And,
almost Russian-esque type fur coat
Right. Right.
kind of thing. And I noticed, and it's hard to tell because you don't see him. They hide him for most of the movie, which I liked. I
do,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They just give you glimpses, just enough here and there, and then of course you see him in full glory at the end of the film. But you picked up here and there that he is almost very corpse-like. He is there's his body is deformed, and he has almost like wounds, like he's
plague sores.
rotting. Yeah, plague sores. I really liked how much attention Eggers played into the design, and I really liked distancing himself from the original two films, but still sticking to somewhat, of the Orlock thing. I thought it was going to bother me that he would distance himself so much, because I kept expecting to see very thin, clad in black, hands crossed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I kept waiting
Yeah.
for that because, in all reality, Skarsgård is the perfect build for that. He's very lean, tall human being like that, so it would have worked perfectly for it.
Yeah.
But the more the movie went, the more I was like, you know what, I thought I wanted that, but I'm okay with what I'm getting, and the more I spend on it, the more I enjoy it. And I found myself thinking that throughout the film as a whole, like I'm catching myself being like, I like this. Let's keep going with this. I'm digging where we're going, and so.
Yeah. Well, and they gave him that extra bulk, and so especially when he's like standing over Lily Rose Depp, he's huge and imposing, and just this weight. He had physical weight and not just menace.
Yes.
Right. And that goes back to the novel. That's the way, I perceive Dracula from the novel. And one thing that I want to talk about is when Hutter's running through the castle looking for Orlock. I keep wanting to say Dracula. Looking for Orlock, and he comes across his, sarcophagus. And I'm like, okay, how are they going to do this that's different than him pushing the lid off of it and jumping back? Because I knew Eggers is not going to do that. But what he gave us was like terror. I wasn't expecting.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you really see his face at all.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow.
Amongst other things.
And he's, like you said earlier, he was very Vlad Tepes looking. And especially in that shot where we see him. It's like, holy fuck.
Full mustache and
I'm like, I really wanted to stand up in the theater and was like, yep, he went for it.
Well, one of my favorite visuals though was a throwback to the original 1922, was when he's coming into the house at the end to meet her. And he passes by the windows, and you see it's the outline, but it's not really the outline from the movie. But then he passes the second set of windows, and it's a little closer looking. Then he passes the third set of windows, and it's the shadow from the first movie, from the 1922 version. I love that building to the homage.
Yeah. And I was wondering how many shots there would be like homages to F.W. Murnau's film, and there weren't really, like that. Like, this is a blatant, this is that shot, but there was. There was more than we'll ever catch on a first viewing.
Right.
So I want the physical media of this. I want all the behind the scenes. I want all the extras. I want to take all of this in.
Yeah, I kept waiting, specifically like him getting off the ship. I kept waiting for that infamous shot.
I was thinking we would have
for
that.
I kept waiting for the shadow going up the stairs, and it was never there. By using shadows throughout the movie, they did pay homage to it on multiple occasions, like specifically with him going up the stairs. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't give us that, because many times when I go into a remake or something and I think I want something just because it plays to the
Right.
original, doesn't always mean that's best within the confines of
Yeah, because
the film that is being made. And
yeah,
I think it worked better in
yeah,
this sense,
I
not
agree.
giving us that again. We're on the third version of this film. We don't need it,
Right,
anymore.
right.
No, this is
Yeah, we're not.
technically this is the fourth.
I
There
was
was
going to say fourth
another.
if you count Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
well, technically fifth. There's another.
Oh,
Um,
Doug
Doug
Jones.
Jones
Yeah,
did one.
playing Dracula Orlock. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that came out this year too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
it is a shot for shot remake of Murnau's film.
Murnau's, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, all most of it was shot on green screen with stills, you know, as
Oh,
the
right.
backdrop and
yeah,
everything. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, it's got Doug Jones, so
We're going to watch it.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna watch it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, um,
I was
yeah,
actually really pleased with I mean, there was still a lot of blood, but I was pleased with the lack of, or the restraint
Yeah.
shown
right,
with the
right,
gore.
right.
Um, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, modern horror movies don't skimp on the blood and the gore, and
Right.
they reined it in to a
Yeah.
reasonable level.
Yeah. And the gypsy scene where they stake the vampire in his coffin,
Hmm.
there was a lot of blood there.
Yes.
There was. It was a quick shot.
Yeah, it was a quick shot,
it-
but I'm like, that wasn't just blood. I mean, that was pus. That was
That was
I mean, that was
Bile.
nasty.
Yeah,
That
it was.
was
It
vile.
was disgusting.
Yeah, and,
I do enjoy the limitations they put on themselves within,
yeah,
modern horror. As you said, has a tendency to use as much gore as it wants, and sometimes I'm okay with that.
mhm,
Like sometimes I want buckets upon buckets, but it also depends on the film too. And
right.
it was nice for it to be the lack of it made it that more intense
Mhm.
and affecting when you did see it on screen in this. And there's almost a beauty to it sometimes, like the last shot of the film.
Oh, yeah.
As grotesque
it was
as
gorgeous.
Orlock is. God, that was just a beautiful shot. And so I love the fact that they were restrained on that. And then when you did get it, it was grotesque and it was wonderful.
Here's a testament to a scene, like at the very end where Ellen is like pulling Orlock back to her, and
Mhm.
she's got her hand on the back of his head, and his skull is exposed, and I'm like, I was taken out of in that moment that was a makeup, and I was transported to this is really happening, and I'm like, oh, that's just fucking gross. It's like that's his skull right there,
Yeah.
So
towards the end of the film, towards the latter of the film, I was constantly thinking about how they're going to end it. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to do a rehash of, one of the two endings from the original? Is Thomas going to ride off and, as a vampire, like in the Herzog version?
Mhm.
Is Orlock just going to kind of fade into sunlight? Like, what's gonna happen?
yeah,
And what they ended up doing, I
was
thought,
a booby trap.
was a booby trap.
Yes.
But I thought it was really interesting in saying that oh well, blood is going to seep out of mouth and eyes when it dies. Sounds on paper boring, and we've seen that before. But the way they shot and did it, along with the sound effects in the film, made it really intense,
Very visceral.
but also somewhat anticlimactic in the fact that it kind of happened and then it was done. But in the scene in the film, it didn't feel like you were shorted anything per se either.
Right. Yeah, the bleeding eyes I really like, because that was a throwback to Hammer films, like Taste the Blood of Dracula, I believe, where Christopher Lee is dying and his eyes are bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, all right, sweet.
It was interesting. I'm really glad we just didn't like turn to dust or something.
Yeah.
And then the ring falls off.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was.
Then Hutter picks up the ring and grabs some dust and puts it into and Yeah.
Well, and I actually love the last shot of Willem Dafoe, where he's standing at the window in the sunlight, and you've got the mirror on him, and the
Yes.
shadow of a cross
The
on his cheek.
cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that the use of shadows and
Oh
light
yeah.
was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
utilized so well.
And the
Yeah.
kitty.
And
I
And the
the
mean,
kitty.
cat. Yes. The cat didn't die.
Nobody killed the cat. I might have
Yes.
walked out.
Yeah. Well, no, see, when Robert Eggers was writing the actual script for this, he had the book Save the Cat
Mhm.
while he was writing. So he learned how to save the cat because he's like, I got to kill the cat. I don't know how to do this. So oh, save the cat.
You
Okay.
don't kill
So,
the cat.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't kill a dog either. I mean,
No.
look at
That's how you
John
lose
Wick.
viewers.
yeah. Yeah.
But
No, to
all in
this day, I
all,
have not finished American Psycho. He killed the dog. I turned the movie off.
Oh,
oh,
That was it.
yeah. Oh,
fair
that
enough.
was a horrific dog killing.
Yeah,
It's
I've never
bad.
finished the
Yeah.
movie, and I never will.
So, all in all, yeah, this is definitely on my top 10 list of. It's on my top 10 favorite vampire movie list. It's on my top 10
Yeah.
favorite horror movies of 2024 list for sure.
I safely say after a single viewing, it's in my top 10 for the year. I
Yeah.
I don't really have any complaints. The film itself and everything about it was done wonderfully and beautifully. I think the only thing I think it suffers from, and I'm not sure it can be changed because Eggers already went ahead and fleshed out extra characters more so than originally there. But I think within the confines of the Nosferatu story and how it differs from Dracula, that's always going to be a weak point, is characterization.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters in general, because essentially they're all just copies of characters from Stoker's Dracula,
Right.
obviously, but there's never a lot of meat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're kind of limited because if you play too much into any of them without drastically changing some things, then you're just running the risk of being like, oh, well, this is Dracula.
Yeah.
Which is the catch-22 with Nosferatu because it is.
Right.
But Eggers found a way
To make that
to
work.
grab bits and pieces from both, even though they're both from the same story. But he grabbed pieces from both and created the perfect amalgam of both, I think, to tell a newer and extremely exciting version of Nosferatu. And like in itself, like the Orlock is completely, it was unexpected for me, and it's kind of is almost new himself, just in the way that they did the makeup, the way they characterize him, because he's not the Orlock from the first two films or any of the previous renditions. No. This is a new, terrifying, commanding, kind of vampire, even more so than we're used to seeing Dracula himself.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Yeah.
So
it's like, yeah. So it took Craig 10 minutes to say, I just wanted a Quincy Morris in the film. I just wanted that fucking cowboy.
Where's my cowboy?
Yeah. I do. It does make me really want another Dracula film, obviously, because we're still all of us are waiting for the perfect Dracula film.
Yeah. Yes.
I would say overall, every actor within the film.
Oh God.
Was fantastic.
Yes.
The script was wonderful. Dialogue, fantastic.
Not a dud in the bunch.
We were talking about that on the way home. I said, you know what? Every actor is better than every actor that was in Coppola's Dracula.
Absolutely. There was not a dud in the bunch. There was nobody I would have replaced. There's nobody I look at and say, really? That was just kind of a lackluster. No, they were perfect.
Yeah, everyone was wonderful. I saw a couple people online that weren't fans of Lily Rose Depp, and I don't know how, because there's been so many movies this year that have had strong female performances, and
well,
it's like the horror movies of 2024 had to fit one last in there to be like, yes, this is most definitely what this year is all about.
And I think the problem that they have with Lily Rose Depp is she wasn't the original cast. The original was Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
And I kept, like, knowing that through the movie, I kept, like, would I rather seen Anna in the film, or I'm like, that would have been a different performance for sure.
It
Oh
would.
yeah.
So and I kind of wonder how that performance would be. I mean, it would be top notch for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
And she's worked with
and,
Eggers,
and
so
and early reviews of this film coming back Oscar worthy. And
which how often do you get that with horror movies? You just
right,
don't.
right, and the Academy even interviewed a lot of the actors and stuff, and they did a sit down with them, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that's promising, because I'd love to see when horror movies grab Oscars, not
Mhm.
just for makeup effects, but for actors, best actor, supporting actor, actresses, supporting
And
actors.
I feel like a lot of the people who complain about Lily Rose Depp have never actually seen her in anything and just want to cry about nepotism.
Right,
And
right, I
go
agree.
ahead and cry about it. She's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, she was,
exactly.
she was.
Yeah, exactly. I did.
Yeah,
I think it, and for me, that's something that helps. I mean, I've seen her in other things, and I'm aware of her as an actress, but I think it also helps that she's not a big, huge A-list star that's in a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And a lot of the actors in this film, outside of Willem Dafoe, you've seen all these actors before in a bunch of things, obviously. But none of them were face actors. You know what I mean? None
right.
of them were like, oh, like names like the Rock comes to mind when you think of that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
put that face, and it's just all right. Yep, you just can't ignore, who that's going to be. You never think beyond the actor themselves. You
Right.
never think into the characters.
Yeah, it's like
So
Clint Eastwood is always Clint Eastwood. John Wayne was always John Wayne.
yeah,
I mean, Humphrey Bogart. It's okay. Yeah.
Right.
yeah. Even though some
So
great actors are that way, it
yeah,
just yeah.
yeah.
So, and every actor in this film is able to kind of disappear into the role.
Right. Well,
You
every
know,
actor that was cast is a great character actor.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So, and I can't wait to follow Lily Rose Depp's career after
Mhm.
this and see what she does next. I hope she stays in the
Absolutely.
genre of horror.
She actually reminds me a lot as an actress of her mother. Because I've
Yeah.
seen some of Vanessa Paradis's movies, and she's very good. And there's a similar cadence to their performances.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I, I, I couldn't help but compare her to Isabella Adjani from the '79 version. I'm like, she kind of looks like her,
Yeah,
and
definitely with the flat hair, and yeah,
yeah, yeah,
they
and
really played that.
and then anytime I think about Isabella Adjani, I think about Possessed. I mean, have you seen Possessed?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh well, then yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to tell people to watch that movie.
Yes, watch it. I mean, it is like
It's a great film. It's just
it's about a possession, and Isabella's possessed, and it's just the
yeah,
the tunnel scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna say, we should tell people to go watch Antichrist for Willem Dafoe.
Oh my
now.
God. Oh my God. No, do not watch Antichrist.
Well, and you have to love how Willem Dafoe has played Orlock
Yes.
and Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. And has Defoe, is this his second vampire film? Or
Well, because he was
third?
Orlock in Shadow of the Vampire.
He was
Yeah,
Orlock in
that's-
Shadow of the Vampire.
that's
He was
what I
in
mean.
Daybreakers.
He was.
With Ethan
He
Hawke.
was. He
I
was.
mean-
So this is his third.
Nicholas Holt's second vampire movie.
Yes. I
There's
love Renfield.
Renfield.
I love Renfield. It is so campy. It knows exactly what it is, and it leans into it 100%.
And
You're gonna do it right.
Skarsgård. He's been a vampire before.
Oh yeah, he had the series
Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove. Yeah.
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 Very unusual vampire
Yeah.
in that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. I absolutely
don't
loved it. It was not what I expected in any way, shape, or form, and I'm really happy about that. It definitely
it surprised
the
me, for
hell out of me
Yeah.
on all fronts. So
Yeah, and I love Robert Eggers. I think we have a lot of the same sensibilities as far as history of a particular genre of film. You know, like I hear Craig told me this. His next film is called
Oh yeah,
Night,
or The Night,
the Night,
potentially,
or whatever. Yeah, about a medieval knight.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. That's
yeah.
just something I read.
And then his film after that supposedly is going to be a Western. So I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you just go ahead and bounce through every genre and make a masterpiece in it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and people say, you know, in the first three films that Eggers did, there were 3 hits and no misses. Well, this is the 4th hit. You know, it's definitely a hit. It's not a miss.
Where would you place it?
Where would I place it? Okay.
For his films.
I'm a huge fan of The Witch. Okay. And then The Lighthouse, and then The Northman. That's the order in which I like them. I put this in first place.
Oh,
I do. Yeah, it's watch the Witch and then Nosferatu, or watch Nosferatu and then The Witch, and you have something. You have a night of terror.
Yeah,
yeah. Because Black Phillip. I mean, you can't beat Black Phillip.
No,
Black Phillip was
not.
incredible. I mean, Black Phillip was evil.
Yes.
You've seen The Witch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When he starts talking, I'm like, okay, that's it.
I'm out.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm going to stay. I'm going to watch the rest of this. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see what Eggers does next.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I will continue to see all of his films.
Yeah, because if he wants to do Frankenstein, then Robert, we have to talk, because you can't do it without me. So,
I still want him to remake Company of Wolves. I'm telling you.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be amazing.
That would be good. Yeah, give him a werewolf film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Specifically the folky kind. Yes.
Yes.
All right. I think that kind of covers everything.
Yeah.
We would urge you to go check out Nosferatu. Go see it in the theater.
Yes, definitely.
Support horror films in theaters when they get there, because I think that's a very important thing to do.
Yep. John Holmes, the like button.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, obviously. And then, of course, once again, we're so excited to have Jocelyn join us again. She was with us, and our last vampire-oriented video was our anticipation for Nosferatu, and just kind of vampire
Dracula
amalgam of everything kind of in film and fiction, and that video was a lot of fun and enjoyed it, and our viewers seem to really enjoy it too, actually. So
yeah, I'm glad I was able to come back on and kind of close the circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean they like it because we have a pretty girl.
Yeah, I think because I mean I need some of the substance for our viewers to come.
Oh my god!
For me, because
the substance.
Anyway, thank you for joining us as always, Jocelyn. Big thank you for coming back and hanging out with us again. We enjoy having you so much.
Anytime.
Yay!
Our next video will probably be our top 10 of 2024.
Yes, that will be.
That'll be it. We hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And we'll see you all next time.
Have a Happy Hanukkah and a Happy New Year.
That's right.
That's right.
Get them all in there. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys.